when I think about some of the women, the clients that I've worked with, and the saboteurs that they've overcome, several pop out as just beautiful examples of having done the work and gotten to the other side. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about a gal I call JC, and she was a hyper empath, and she had, because of the propensity for feeling into energy, when she was in her first marriage, which was not very healthy, her ex took advantage of that and used all that energetic material to basically mentally abuse her. And then of course it became emotional abuse. So it wasn't overt, it was very covert, but the messaging all the time was, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? There's something wrong with you. You don't deserve to, etc., etc. So that was where she had come from, but she couldn't get out of that on her own. She started to do a saboteur process to unlink from that. And the key piece that was profound for her in the process was a rewriting process, where literally there was a specific memory. So there were, of course, many memories, but there was a specific one that we worked with where she was able to rewrite that experience. Now it's not like just sitting down and writing a few words. It's an actual deep process with interruptive tactics, and then a re-envisioning of it. Like, they call it a rewriting. So she was able to rewrite that, and she just suddenly like lit up from that. And she had done a lot of other work on, restricting beliefs and things like that, but she was ready for it. And she now, she hardly gives her ex a second thought. She's launched her own business where she's inspiring other women. She's just like this creative energy bubble. She's just constantly going. She's manifesting abundance like crazy, and she is living her truest passion project. And she's having a lot of fun too. And she's got kids. So this was really important, that she felt like she could truly be herself, because she knew she was role modeling the old saboteur behaviors to her daughters. So she's overcome that. I'm just so proud of her. I think when most women, they're thinking about their children, they have thoughts. Of course, everybody wants to be a great parent, but they don't always know what to do. And when you have that breakthrough, when you're able to set yourself free, and your kids are like, "Wow, Mom," it's just amazing, and it's life-altering for everybody, and the family line as well. There's healing that goes back up through the ancestral line. So I'd like to also share with you one of my pretender clients and a little bit of her journey. So this client, McKenna, she had a very strong pretender saboteur, and it made a lot of sense. She came from a different country. I'm going to give her a little bit of privacy here, so I'll just say she was an Asian living in Asia, and there was strong work and corporate, but also familial patterns around really having to be a specific way, very, very rigid, and who you got to be and how you did it and who you married and where you went to work and what time you worked from. It's just very, very rigid. And she was a high creative, very entrepreneurial. What she needed to do was find the strength in order to be able to do a deep release process, a cathartic release process. And when she did the cathartic release process, she felt it. She felt it in her body. She was like, now I don't just know, my values and part of my authentic self. It like started to come together. She had to really feel it in her body through that catharsis. And she was able to individuate from her family's programmed roles that they kept putting on her. And they haven't changed still, but she's able to be herself now. And she is now focused on her soul mission. and she's bringing hope to young women around the world. So I'm super excited about her. So, you can start to do some cathartic release on a small scale simply by sensing into your body. So if you feel you've identified a pattern, so the specificity really helps. So first you want to identify what is the pattern. What is it that I want to release out of my field? And then you want to sense into where it is in your body, your energy body. It could be like a little bit out here. It might feel like it's outside a little bit in your aura, but often you can actually sense it in your body because you get an ick, you get something happening that you don't like. That's probably where the pattern has kind of lodged into the cellular memory. And so you can just literally call in, I would call in your high self for support, or your spirit guide, and you can take it where it is with your hands, and you can energetically pull it out of you, throw it on the floor, or throw it up into the light and let the light transmute it. And once you have it out of you, so you really want to get it so it feels out, right? So this is this one pattern. And then you want to fill up. It's really critical to do this piece. This is part of the replacing piece. So you want to replace what you took out with something source driven or purely authentic to you. So you could fill up that space with, I call it an I am, right? A value, something you really, really care about, like peace, world peace. You could fill it up with world peace or love or compassion. Or if you want to just like be open to the magic of the universe, you could envision a rainbow coming in, rainbow light or pure source energy. But you want to make sure you do that so you're not creating a vacuum in your energy body, because that vacuum can attract other stuff you don't want. So that would be the process. Identify the pattern, pull it out, physically feel it come out, like maybe even get a little emotional, like I'm getting you out of me once and for all, and then fill up with divine energy. So depending on the pattern and how many different ways you got it, how you learned it, or it was programmed into you, that will determine the extent of which you may want to release it. So if it's something that's showing up in your relationship, when there's a certain kind of trigger, if you're noticing you're still getting triggered around that pattern, then just do this process again. That's probably the proof is in the pudding, right? But just remember, we all have been programmed, usually in a number of ways, that sometimes a pattern is ready to go. If you've already done some work on it and you might just have been missing one of these elements, this is a great way to just take yourself over the edge and get into beautiful levels of joy and bliss. And just so when you fill up, I will say this, so when you fill up, it's gonna feel good. And if it's not feeling good, then you're not filling up with divine energy. So feel good and then go on with your life and see how far it takes you.